Hello and welcome to another update video about Ethereum. Ethereum moved further into our target range. Yeah, I've been saying throughout last week that we deal here in an ideal world with a target for this C wave of wave 5 of 1, that we deal with an ideal target range of round about 1960 to 1980, maybe all the way up to $2,000. We are now in this area and we can see there is some selling pressure. Yeah, so we see constant profit taking, but the bulls are still stronger and we are approaching the next major resistance level. At least it is structural resistance. It's just highly relevant. Well, it's not a super strong resistance, but it is highly relevant from a structural point of view still, because it's such an obvious spike here. Would be surprised if we don't find any resistance there at 2020. My take is that we should, in an ideal world, get a pullback here and price should come down in a wave 2 pullback shortly. The only thing that doesn't really add up is that Bitcoin has not done this latest push to the upside. It hasn't joined Ethereum. Now, I talked a little bit about the difference on the Bitcoin and the Ethereum chart in that Ethereum really desperately needed that one more high. Bitcoin, not so much, because Bitcoin made a nice high on the 23rd of June already. So here we have a bullish alternative or another alternative in that we can stay, okay? This is the Bitcoin chart here. We made a nice higher high on the 23rd of June. So in the worst case, okay, this was wave 1 in case we come down. And we already had a 5-wave move to the upside. Ethereum didn't have that. And here's a really beautiful sign and proof that not everything follows Bitcoin. Yeah, Ethereum here moves completely on its own, making a higher high while Bitcoin didn't. And that's all the fans of correlations. Again, you can't use those correlations really for trading. There are many more things that you need to observe, including the Elliott Waves, maybe the ETH BTC chart. We've been doing that as well, and a lot of other stuff. But yeah, at the moment, Ethereum obviously they needed that higher high. Primary expectation now completely fulfilled. And I'm looking for a pullback in a wave 2, but at the same time, I have no evidence at this stage that the pullback has started. I would need confirmation by price breaking below what I have labeled here as the B wave low at 1895 to indicate that the pullback indeed is starting in the wave 2. Now, as I said before, I need to adjust I need to adjust our support area slightly because price pushed a little higher. It's basically a bit of a moving target down here, or moving support area based on the high of the wave 1. And it's now at 1703 to 1802, which means that at 1802 we start to see some significant support, and 1702 is the level that it desperately needs to hold, because if price goes below that level, then the assumption that this is a 1-2 setup is not working out, and we would have to reset this larger degree wave 2 to over here, and the assumption that a larger degree wave 2 finished on the 15th of June again would not have worked out, or would not work out. But until then, the focus is on higher, short term against the support of 1895 here, and more important is the support at 1702. Now, again, primarily I'm looking at a pullback somewhere here, but I also don't have a crystal ball, okay, and we only can look at idealized structures. I mean, everybody can see that we now have a nice 5-wave move up that we've been looking for. The only thing that doesn't fully add up is the choppy nature of this move up. So I said it many times before, and that is the bullish alternative. The bullish alternative is, of course, obviously we are in a third wave. That's the assumption anyway. But in a third wave, pullbacks can be shallow and escalations can happen and extensions can happen. I've only talked about it yesterday in the member live stream, that many people are under-positioned in a third wave. And the problem is a lot of people try to take profits too early and try to trade every single wave in a third wave. That can lead to problems, because what could happen is that Ethereum escalates directly in a third wave rally. It's nothing I particularly look for, but I've seen it. Yeah, I've seen it. So what is the level where I would say, okay, we don't really get the wave 2 pullback, and what would be the alternative bullish wave count? The alternative bullish wave count is just for the purpose of keeping an open mind, is that a wave 1 finished here on the 23rd of June. The wave 2 was already in here on that swing low on the 28th of June, and we would be escalating higher in a third wave already. Third of a third wave rally. Don't see any evidence for that other than this choppy structure, because we could be building up 1-2, 1-2, 1-2 setups, which would be super bullish. And if price goes way above the ideal target for this fifth wave of a first wave, then I have to assume we're already in the third wave. I hope that makes sense. So if it goes too high, then it basically breaks through resistance and it makes a direct pullback in a wave 2 far less likely. And that level would be, for me, if we break substantially above 2020, that resistance I highlighted. If we do that, then I have to assume we're already in a third wave. But again, wouldn't necessarily be a surprise. I've mentioned many times that in a third wave, don't get too small with your positions. But that's up to you. You know, I can't give you any personal recommendations for your own trading. I can just give you the parameters and the different options here, and then comment a little bit around it. And I've seen it before. Nobody expects a direct escalation to the upside, right? Nobody. But we on this channel know that at least there is a certain likelihood. It is probably, if we talk about likely scenarios, I mean, there is, for me now, the most likely scenario, which is coming down in this wave 2, okay? There is the second likely scenario, and that would be a direct escalation to the upside. And the third likely scenario would be that if we come back, that we're also breaking support and actually go into a short-term or bearish scenario. They are probably the three scenarios I'm looking at here. Certainly most likely would be the idealized structure, because the ideal structures always have to be the primary scenario, especially given that we now have 5 waves up. So probabilities have been certainly on our side here, and everybody who followed the analysis and followed the support areas indicated on the chart would have made money in the last few weeks, really, right? Good money on this, okay, if you traded this. And be aware that obviously an analyst can't always be right, okay? And it's just the nature of the beast that when you've been right many times, then at some point you'll be wrong, okay? So, I mean, again, if the second likely scenario works out, I wouldn't call it wrong, but you know what I mean. So it could be that at some point the less likely scenario is going to play out. And I've just seen it before, and we know it from a psychological point of view and what the markets like to do. They like to leave the station with the least people on the train possible. And I just seen a lot of bearish comments again in the comments, and it's just always when things like that happen that you get to the point where you say, okay, not too many people are super bullish yet. Look, most people expect a pullback, so maybe it doesn't happen. Right, just be aware of that. And what can't be predicted can be managed with tactics. Always remember that. So hope you liked the update. If you did, please hit the like button, leave a comment and subscribe. And if you really like the content, then please check out the channel membership. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye-bye.